So here, I'm just going to give it to you all right here on how I built my 7-figure personal brand over the past 12 years, right? Didn't happen overnight. So get that out of your heads. But I'm going to give you everything that I do on a consistent basis that got me to the 7-figure mark. I documented everything. You've heard of this before. I built attention and trust. So I started to give myself away and really began to serve. And the true meaning of serving is doing without getting anything or expecting anything in return. It was very hard for me. I don't know if you guys ever heard my story or ever watched my videos about that. I struggled with this for years. I grew up in northern New Jersey. It's a very wise guy mentality up here. And a lot of fake mafiosos around here. But when I was a kid, the mafia was very big. In the 80s and 90s, it was very big. And I grew up in neighborhoods. I have a Polish last name, but I'm half Italian. And I grew up in Italian neighborhoods. And it was, if I do this for you, what do you do for me? And that was the mentality. And I grew up around that my whole life. I didn't know what serving meant. I always thought if you do something for somebody, then they owe you. That's not how you win in entrepreneurship. That's not how you win in entrepreneurship. And that mentality bit me in the ass for about 12 years. I finally got my shit together this year. And I stopped selling and I started serving. Right? So that's how you build trust and attention when you serve. I made promises and I kept them. Simple stuff, guys. And if you F up, just acknowledge it. Do not sweep it under the rug. Do not sweep it under the rug. Acknowledge it. I screwed up plenty of times. I acknowledge it. I make it right. I invested in great design. My design speaks louder than my words. My actions speak louder than my words. And when I invested in myself and this great design, it built a tremendous amount of trust. And again, I keep falling back to trust. Trust is everything. I designed and created great products and services. Look at this beautiful presentation design that Priyanka and his team did. Right? He spent, I don't know, I didn't check the hours, how long it took him to do this. But I spent a couple hours with him in the process, just art directing this. I wanted this to be perfect for you guys. And it's, when I clicked stop share, I wasn't sure if I was going to see 2 people left. And when I hit stop share and all you guys were still here, I said, hey, I still got their attention. And here's me being modest, but I still had your attention. And this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So I built great digital products. I built podcasts. I built my YouTube channel. I built my Instagram. I built the Brand Accelerator program from scratch. Really developed all of those processes. I don't know if Priyanka was around, but I the processes, I had a couple leaks a couple years ago that cost me $40,000. I gave the money back. I said that was a $40,000 lesson. And then I fixed my process. And now it's airtight. So now when people come in, it's in and out, which is really awesome. So, but I spent a ton of time, money, and energy in doing that. I demonstrated my expertise. One of the big things I think people say about me, if I ask them, what's the one thing that, one big takeaway about me? And I'm not afraid to ask this question. I used to be. And they say, you practice what you preach. That's why I like you. That's it. And so I demonstrate everything that I do through case studies, before and afters. This is what my client was struggling prior to meeting me. Here's what we did and here's how his life is like now. It's huge. Testimonials, influencers. So I get testimonials from influencers and customers. I'll talk about that in a second. Law of reciprocity. Just Oh, I didn't tell you about the 5149 rule. I don't know. I don't know if it's coming up or if I missed it by accident, but I'll say it here just in case I missed it. 5149 rule is you want to put 51%. I got this from Gary Vee too. You want to put 51% into the relationship. No matter if it's your kid, your client, your wife, anybody, put in 51% of effort into that relationship. And you'll see the law of reciprocity take place. Law of reciprocity is, it's going to come back to you. You don't know when, but it will come back to you, right? And beta testers, look, these are all phenomenal questions that you asked me during our first break, which I may do some supplement videos to really go deep on that particular question and add that into this course once we get it all chopped up and ready to get put into ClickFunnels, right? So beta testers are great ways to demonstrate your expertise and really validate whether or not what you're doing is impactful. I aligned with other influencers. I got to work with Bon Jovi for 2.5 years on 2 world tours. Fabio Viviani, Top Chef dude, did a bunch of work for him. Russell Brunson worked with Chris Do. Well, I work with him, but I surround myself with Chris Do, and next thing you know, I have thousands of designers following me now because I showed up on his YouTube channel a few times. So you want to surround yourself with those types of people. It's really going to help you out. Praise, the guy with the review software, he said, I knew I was going to hire you, but the minute I saw Russell Brunson vouch for you, that was it. I signed the contract. That was a $65,000 project. So this makes sense. And how do you align with those influencers? Don't be afraid to buy their products. Don't be afraid to support them a little bit and show them some love. Offer the help with no expectation. I didn't tell you this story, but how I really got Russell's attention was I hated his podcast cover. His podcast cover was awful. And it just didn't represent the value that he delivered on that podcast. So I designed a podcast cover to him and just gave it to him one day. About 2 months later, he hit me back up looking for that podcast cover. And then that was the day he asked me to take over his whole branding for ClickFunnels. It was that simple. So I just offered help without expectation. And then comment on their content. That's really the low-hanging fruit here. Like if you really want to get on somebody's radar, like I'm Instagram buddies with Ed Milet. I don't know if you know who that is, but huge guy online. And me and him are Instagram buddies. If I ever saw him in person, he'd know exactly who I am. We never met in person, but we communicate a lot on Instagram. Why? Because I comment on a lot of his stuff. I like a lot of his stuff. So that's just relationship building 101. I build credibility and proof. That's something that I just got into. I'm not going to say that was a blind spot for many, many years. And then I realized, whoa, this is why everybody else is crushing it and I'm losing. I don't have enough ethos. I don't have enough credibility. I'm not showcasing what it is that I do. These are all legit text messages from my clients and some recommendations on LinkedIn that I got from some of my clients. Leverage that stuff. Leverage that stuff. People want to see what you can do for them. There's Dom Fawcett, third one in. He's getting $2K a month in one client, $2K a month. Another person landed his Praise. When we launched Praise 2 days later, he landed his first $2,000 membership. 2 days later. I got to show that. Because if I just tell you, you're not going to believe me. It's my word against yours. But if I show you, it's a different story. Here's a guy, mom and pop shop. He's at Orange Garden Center. Just getting into social media, right? 3 years ago. I gave him some digital marketing strategy. He gets on and does a video. Guy gets better engagement than I do. He got like 3,000 views. He took a snapshot of the video. 3,000 views, 200 and some comments, like 154 comments. He goes, the response is insane. I go, awesome. Keep doing what I tell you to do.